best things about interior design is that it truly gives you the freedom to choose any design elements that reflect your personality.
Hi, I'm Keith with A. Keith Powell Interior, Principal CEO and owner of this company for the last 30 plus years. One of the things I like to do is break the rules of traditional design. And one of those things is always doing the unexpected. If it looks like it should be this, I do that. And that's just, I think, always been my mantra in design.
We show you how to create a beautiful design that's outside the box by breaking the design rules on today's SoFlo Home Project. Welcome to SoFlo Home Project. I'm Alena Capra. Never judge a book by its cover is a saying that fits this home very well because its architectural exterior doesn't necessarily reflect what you'll find on the inside. This 5,500 square foot home has 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and a powder room. Its traditional interior has been given a modern Hollywood glam look. Keith, it's so great to see you. Welcome to SoFlo Home Project.
Thank you for having me on the show. It's good to be here.
Well, we are extremely excited about this designer tour today. It's like nothing we've seen before on the show. So I am
thank you.
Really excited. And the architecture of the home is actually a little bit more Spanish-style Mediterranean.
Yes, the exterior of the home, and as in a lot of the homes in this area, are very Mediterranean. And as you know me for a long time, you know I do not do Mediterranean at all.
So you brought your special touch of design into this home. And
yeah.
I think a lot of what we want to also explore today is not necessarily feel like you always have to decorate what the exterior of the home is. You could do something completely different inside.
Yes, absolutely. I felt when I walked in that this home just needed something so much more than even what the homeowners had asked for. The room was inspired by kind of like a Gotham, anti-Mames, sort of very 1940s heroic style. So I was lucky enough to meet a guy who actually does all of these moldings in plaster. So they're all completely custom design moldings everywhere, including all the wood and everything is all custom millwork.
Unbelievable. They truly are works of art. Now, Keith, on the fireplace, it has this beautiful sort of pearlized finish. Looks like a very specialized paint.
Well, it is. When I had my Cadillac, I had taken it in for service one day, and I asked them, I'm doing a project and I would love to use the pearlized ivory Cadillac paint.
That is a beautiful paint.
So that is actual Cadillac auto body paint.
So that's why the sheen is so brilliant.
That's why it's got that car look to it, that car finish look to it.
So not just for cars.
There's about 30 coats on each piece. It just took forever.
That's how you get that brilliant shine.
Yes,
automotive
exactly.
paint.
Yeah.
So moldings is like the main thing you see when you walk in here. Of course, they're so detailed. And of course, the pop of color as well. We cannot ignore the blue, which is so beautiful.
Well, thankfully, blue, which has always been my favorite color, and especially the brighter and more bold the blue, also happens to be one of the most favorite colors of the lady of the house. She loves emerald green and sapphire blue.
Those jewel tones.
And those jewel tones. So she was totally fine with doing a very blue room, which of course, as you can see, is really blue.
I love it. I mean, everything from the doors to the walls. But another thing that I'm noticing here that's also a great tip, you use the bold color on the rug, on the walls, on the accent, but the main furnishing pieces are the neutral.
And in this particular case, I knew that they loved gold, and I knew that the lady of the house loves purple. So instead of doing flat out purple in here, I wanted to do something a little bit softer. And I chose this particular Romo Velvet because it really feels sort of lavender, but almost with a blue undertone to it. So it doesn't feel out of place in all of this blue. That's the one thing about blue. It's a good color. It's not like gray, where gray is a very difficult color to gradiate from gray to gray to gray.
There's so much with blue.
Blue is easier, I think. Then instead of using clear mirror, except over the fireplace, we ended up using antique mirror, and we even cut up a lot of that antique mirror so it reflects a lot of light into the space. So that's one thing you can do in your own home to give something a little bit more detail and design.
Yes. Love that. Yes, antique mirror is always a great look, and I feel like in here we sort of get this hint of glam. Well, we've got more to see, and I cannot wait to continue touring with you. So stay with us, and we'll see more bold colors, beautiful moldings, and design when we come back. Coming up, we explore a bold office design with a storied style on SoFlo Home Project.
So we're here at a typical South Florida home. This window's pretty old. It needs to be replaced. We're going to show you how we take care of this window. Coming up next on SoFlo Home Project.
So we're here today in the South Florida Design Park in Hollywood at Piano Music Center to learn a little bit more about all that they have to offer. And we're going to talk with Tony Siciliano, the CEO. Tony, welcome.
Thank you.
So before we jump into all that you have to offer, what is your background in music?
Well, I started playing at about 13 years old, and then I recorded for Motown Records. I was the first white band on Motown. And then I went on to perform with major artists nationwide.
So you're here now in
Right.
South Florida. How many years have you been in the community here?
19 years.
Tony, so when someone is looking to buy a piano, of course the Baby Grand is that beautiful one that
Correct.
fits well in a beautiful living room when you have the clearance and space for it.
Yes.
But you offer a lot of other types.
Yeah, but a lot of people, if they don't have room for a grand piano, we suggest the upright piano or a digital piano. On a digital piano, you get the drums, you get the background, you get a lot of features on a digital piano that you don't get on a grand piano. We have starter pianos, Yamaha digital pianos for $1,300.
So you carry some great stuff, and obviously you really can guide any potential customer through the purchase, and they could try out different things while they're here.
Exactly.
So I'm not actually playing this, but I hope I fooled someone. Tony, this is amazing. What exactly are the capabilities of this entire piano? Because obviously it can kind of play itself, but there's probably so much more, I'm assuming.
Yes, on this piano, it's a teaching tool. You can learn how to play the piano by yourself. It's also, you could record yourself, and a lot of musicians like it because you could record to a USB, put it in the computer, and then download the sheet music. It'll write the sheet music for you. This even comes up in an upright version, which is right next to you.
Oh, very nice. So
So
if you don't have the room for the Baby Grand.
You could do the upright, and it's the same electronics as the grand piano.
Tony, so I want to thank you for spending some time with us today and educating us more on pianos and purchasing and all the different options. But of course, there's so much more to see here. So if anyone at home is thinking of coming in to purchase a piano or learn more, how do they find you and where are you located?
We're in a great city of Hollywood, Florida, right off of 95. So come on down anytime we're here.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome back to SoFlo Home Project. I'm Alena Capra, and we are continuing to tour this beautiful home with interior designer Keith Powell from A. Keith Powell Interior. So Keith, we have seen the formal living room, which is stunning, and everything with these bold pops of blues and these gorgeous finishes and moldings. And I love seeing how it's now continued into the home office. On the other side of the living room, we find the office. This bold new workspace holds an unexpected personal collection. So the only reason we think this is an office is because there's a desk, because it is
Right.
so high style. It is so amazing.
We actually picked this color after we had designed the custom color in the living room. That is a metallic finish, and in here I just wanted a mattish lacquer on the
Yes.
walls. And we came to an agreement to do the floor in this beautiful wood and then
Yes.
the ceiling in white. But,
Just to balance it out.
yes, and the curtains and everything else, we decided to, like, you know, again, introduce that blue, but I didn't want to do solid blue curtains, and it worked out well.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm very
love
happy.
sort of this color block it gives and infuses more of this sort of off-white into the space. Something about this room, it's like nothing I have ever seen before in design, and that is, we talk about truly outside the box. It is so thoughtful. The details, the moldings.
We actually drew this whole room out in scale on the walls in pencil first to make all the necessary design tweaks that we needed. And then I decided at the last minute I needed more brass in this room.
You can never have enough brass.
So we did these pieces of half round, which by the way, almost no one sells this.
So this is a really well curated space. And you know, Keith, as we're touring it, I am not mentioning one very big part of the design in this room, what's behind us with these comic books. I cannot wait to talk further about this because I know there's a lot of stories on how this evolved. But before we do that, we are gonna check in with Mike Martinez from USA Windows and Doors and see what great advice he has for us today.
Hey, Mike Martinez with USA Windows and Doors. We're here in a typical community in South Florida. This community has a homeowner association. In this segment, we're going to be talking to you about how we deal with that, how we help you through the process. We get all the specs and everything they need. We make sure we have all the approvals, and then we do the job for you, all included. So the process begins with an in-home consultation. We come to your home, we're going to show you the process of picking the right glass, the right frame, the right needs, and the right solution for your house. Once we do that and we get the contract rolling, that's when the process of work begins. We go through and we send a measuring technician out to your home. They're going to come measure very precisely each and every window, as they're all different and everything has to be custom made. So our engineering department, they'll make sure all the specifications are met for the building department and for your homeowner association if you have one. We make sure that all our licenses and all the things they require are all met. We fill out the information, we submit it to them, and we take care of all the approvals for you. Once everything's approved with the building department and the HOA, that's when we can install your windows and make your home more beautiful and safer. So looking at the whole process, you can see we take all the hard work out for you. Only thing left to do is for you to enjoy your new windows once they're in. So if you're ready to make your home energy efficient, beautiful, safer for those upcoming hurricanes, call USA Windows and Doors at 954-951-8740. Better yet, look us up on the web, usawindowsanddoors.com. Back to you, Alena.
Thanks, Mike. So, Keith, the comic books are such a great way to not only probably bring your clients' passions, collections as art in the space.
This collection, he's collected comic books for a very, very long time, and he wanted something that would showcase them in the most unique way. The idea was we had to come up with something that A, would be secure because of the value of the collection itself, and something that would light it properly without causing glare.
Lots to think about here.
The right type of glass that is museum glass, glass that's UV protected to protect the comic books from the sun. Even the brackets that hold these things in place, if you remove these from these plastic covers, it devalues the comic book immediately. Like there's no value left in it.
They have to stay
They have to remain
those.
in the container that it originally signed, sealed, and then there's like a little tab you can see in the upper right-hand corner that authenticates it. Oh, and there's circulation and fans behind everything, these quiet fans that blow air through the whole thing all the time. It was a lot.
A lot of working parts, but the end result is beautiful. I mean, this is really, truly a showpiece.
Normally, I would never let a homeowner choose their own accessories. It's just not what I do. But this particular homeowner really had very distinct opinions, and I actually was in love with everything that he chose accessory-wise, like the masks and the books and some of the freestanding pieces of art. I just was in love with them, and I was happy that he had that input because really it reflects his style and his taste along with my design vision.
It's that perfect synergy. It really is gorgeous, but there's more. And we are gonna kind of transition from blue to some other bold colors as we continue to tour this gorgeous home when we come back. Coming up next, elevating the dining experience with a modern Hollywood glam look on SoFlo Home Project.
SoFlo Home Project is sponsored in part by Eldorado Furniture. Looking to refresh your home? Visit us online at eldoradofurniture.com or a showroom near you.
When it's time to move, it's often a good time to get rid of things that we don't want, and it's a good time to declutter. So Good Greek junk removal comes in really handy to our customers as part of our one-stop shop and total relocation solutions. By getting rid of things that our customers don't need, we're saving them time and money. Good Greek junk removal not only helps you get rid of those unwanted things by disposing of them at the dump or taking them to your local charity, but Good Greek can also help in construction and renovation sites by helping get rid of that debris. So whether you're moving and you need to declutter, or you just need to do some spring cleaning around the house, Good Greek junk removal can help you get it all done.
Good Greek moving and storage, your superhero movers.
Welcome back to SoFlo Home Project. I'm Alena Capra, and we are continuing to tour this beautiful home with interior designer Keith Powell from A. Keith Powell Interiors. So Keith, before the break, we saw one amazing office library, as we'll call it, with an incredible pop of blue and display of comic books. But now we're in a completely different room in the home.
Yes, the dining room.
The dining room is found on the other side of the living room. This glammed up new space is perfect for an elegant meal. So the formal dining room has sort of introduced a new color in the palette. We talked about that your client loves jewel tones and they wanted to bring in vibrant hues.
There were so many opportunities and so many ideas to make this room special that I really kind of waited till the last minute to really come up with a plan that I liked. And it started with the Jonathan Adler wallpaper, which has a metallic kind of gold to it, but it's also that super malachite emerald green, and it really spoke to me. And this is about as traditional as I've ever done in my entire life.
But it modernizes it.
Like, it has a traditional but very modern feeling to it. It has a lot of gold and brass detail, and the fabrics, of course, are extremely modern.
Yes.
We also have this incredible wallpaper. It's all handmade, and it feels like welding, almost like somebody welded those little half moons on the wall.
When you step back, I love the way it illuminates. I think something to be said when there's that hint of metallic in a wallpaper, and it just reflects, and you get so much more depth than just a
and especially for a small room. I mean, it's not a huge space, so I feel like the wallpaper kind of expands the space. It doesn't feel like it stops at the walls. It just keeps kind of going and going. And
those are two great things that you said there that I think for our viewers, if they're thinking about trying out both wall covering, I love that when you could either order an extra yard, try something out, get a large swatch, because then you could truly get a feel for, is this the direction we want to go? And I love it. And in this case, everyone loved it. It looks great on the walls.
And that's what sort of drove everything else after that. This started it, second was this wallpaper, and then everything else just fell into place after.
I love it. And I also want to talk about the art, because that sort of plays to what we're seeing on the ceiling wallpaper.
Yes, this is one of my favorite patterns. We have a rug in our line called Geode, which is similar to this, as you've seen before.
Yes.
And of course, I always love framing everything in acrylic because it just looks so modern.
Yeah, and that's a great juxtaposition to when you're
to
modernizing.
the traditional of And then the mirrors just reflect more of the light into the space. And you know, there's so many traditional-ish elements in this room.
But it modernizes
but it feels very modern.
And brings the glam.
Yes.
Because you gotta have the glam.
Gotta have the glam.
Next, we enjoy more of this amazing home design on SoFlo Home Project. Welcome back to SoFlo Home Project. I'm Alena Capra, and we are on our final stop of this tour of this gorgeous home with interior designer Keith Powell from A. Keith Powell Interior. Keith, so we have seen the formal dining room, we have seen the formal living room, a very beautiful office, and now we're kind of where it all starts, which is the entryway of the home. And in this case, we have a two-story entryway, so there's a lot of height, and you use this gorgeous custom chandelier.
But in this double height foyer, I just like the idea of kind of bringing in that slight Venetian plaster detail that pulls up the stone floors, it pulls the gray out of the stone.
And connects it all.
Gray is a nice base to work with when you're working with a lot of blues.
Well, I think that's such a great illustration in pairing a boulder wall with a ceiling that complements it. Keith, I want to thank you. This has been so much fun, touring your client's gorgeous home, seeing all the design details. I feel like there's so much design inspiration to be had from this tour. This has been a pleasure. Thank you.
And it has been my pleasure as well. Thank you so much, Alena. It was great being here.
Yes, a lot of fun. And before we go, let's take a look at what design inspiration we have for you next week on SoFlo Home Project. We'll browse through great storage solutions, dressing areas, and all the glamorous details that we hope will give you the closet inspiration that you've been looking for. And to our viewers, we thank you for joining us this week, and we hope to see you again next week for another all-new episode of SoFlo Home Project right here on Local 10. And remember, there's no place like SoFlo Home. If you missed any part of this episode, or if you're looking for more design inspiration, make sure to check out all episodes online at SoFloShows.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media on Facebook and Instagram.